Hello, Nick. This is Blake. I wanted to do a follow-up, well, not a follow-up video, but I wanted to add a video reply to your So what are some of your rare books? Your first video that you did, and you showed some a rare zine related to Kevin and Peter, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle stuff. And I remembered that I had a couple of pieces that probably, I mean, they're rare, and like you said, not everything that's rare is very valuable because you got to have that demand. But that's, we've already beat that one in the ground. But there are some things that are quite rare, even more rare than that piece that you have. They're just not very well known, and probably if more people knew about it, the value would go up. But anyway, one of my hobbies is mini comics and zines. So maybe you know what mini comics are. Generally, they grew out of the underground period of comics in San Francisco and the big scene that was there. A lot of people started putting together their own little mini comic size things, and uh, well, I want to show you these examples just yet because I want to build the anticipation. Anyway, they were generally smaller pieces, a letter folded four ways, not folded four ways, but that you have letter size and then you have digest size. You fold it one way, you fold it again, and you have what they call quarter zine size, which is this big. And generally they were 8 pages. Sometimes they went 12 or even 16. And people would do their own little artwork and photocopy of them with whatever means that they could at the time. In the mid 70s, the the Xerox machine became, I guess, pretty common in office environments and things like that. But in the mid to later 70s, copying machines were more and more prevalent, and people started making their own comics and making their own zines and things like that and trading them around. Well, one guy, Clay Geerdes, Geerdes, who was a photographer out in the San Francisco area, really dug this scene. A lot. People doing their own self-publishing thing, and he created a newsletter called Comics World, and I think Comics World, and then later he had to change the name to Comics Wave for some reason. We can go into that another time if you're interested. Anyway, it was kind of an informational zine newsletter that was mailed out to people that were interested in it, and through that, he basically just published what was happening. Who had new material that they wanted to sell or trade or whatever, and apparently, I don't know the connection, but Kevin Eastman and Peter Laird got into that scene, and some of their early work was published that way. A lot of times, Clay Geerdes, not only did he publish the information and get that out in these little newsletters, he also would publish his own titles just to give people a place to have their work published. And there were all kinds of crazy names that he gave these little mini comics, but basically he would publish anything that people would send him. Some are good, some are average, some are bad, but in and of themselves, people were trying, and that's the part that appealed to me, was the fact that this was a means of people who didn't have the ability to break into the industry. For every five artists that could make it in, there were at least 100 that were decent but couldn't get in because the competition was so fierce. Anyway, to make a short story long, as I'm often said to do. What I want to do is show you a couple things that I knew that I had that I could get to. The first one is a title called Sweet Cheeks, and I have a neat little bag and board for even my little mini comics. So I'm pretty obsessive about that. Anyway, I'm going to show you the title first. It's called Sweet Cheeks. Now, if you've got kids around, go give them a chore because this was also for adults too. For the most part, these were adults trading things for adults, and a lot of times they would get carried away with naked women. So yeah, Sweet Cheeks. I think this was issue number 1 of Sweet Cheeks. Sweet Cheeks. Yeah, this was issue number 1, published in 1983. And our friend Mr. Eastman did the cover. Now, I'm going to try to hold this up so you can see it. And here, you can see near my pinky there, Eastman 83. And you probably can recognize, Eastman wasn't a great cartoonist, but he was a good storyteller. And this is one of his early works, Sweet Cheeks. Let's see. I'll flip through this. There are no other Eastman cartoons. Par Holman, he's a pretty big mini comics guy. Grant Green, awesome guy. Let's see who we have here. I'm not sure who did Raz. Oh, Dan W. Taylor. He's my friend, and he's the one that I got this particular copy from. Was Dan Taylor, mini comics guy from the 80s, and he still does some today even. And Raz, and then somebody I don't really know did the back. Come on, I think it's Sean Howard. I'm not sure. Anyway, Kevin Eastman did the cover to here. How many copies of this were made? Very likely less than 300. Probably more on the lines of 200, 250 maybe. And if you look really hard, you can find these. They're, like I said, they're quite rare, just in terms of the number that survived. But when you find them, it's not going to be that expensive because people just don't know what they are. Probably you'd pay maybe $15-20 for this. People who have these know who Kevin Eastman is, and they will charge a little more. Otherwise, it's probably a $10 mini comic. But with Kevin Eastman on the cover, probably 20, 25, maybe even 30 if you can find it. Now, another mini comics guy who is still very active, and he does more science fiction work today even. Very, very famous science fiction graphic artist, Brad Foster, who also did his own mini comics and things of that nature, own publications. I'll show you his the title of his business, Jabberwocky Graphics. Still there, and in fact, I got this copy from him about maybe 2 years ago. He may still have some of these available. Anyway, he did a title called Goodies, and basically they're generally just full of kind of cartoonist pinups of women, nude women, or women in interesting situations. Anyway, this particular issue of Goodies number 8, Brad Foster, this is signature there, 1983, is basically, other than other than the cover and the inside cover, another Brad Foster piece, is a comic by Peter's friend. I mean, Kevin's friend. Man, I can't get this to focus. Peter Laird. Now what I'll do is I'm gonna try to take the camera and do it Nick style here. Lay this down and show you this, because the mini comic actually is very good. The comic is very good. So let me get this for you. See if this works. All right. Yeah, if I can just hold my hand still. So, goodies. Little Book of Naughty Bits. So as you can see, issue number 8, 1983, and Peter Laird submitted this story and art by Peter Laird. It's called Sleigh Dream. Now, there are no words to this, but the pictures, the panels, certainly explains the story. So I'll show these. This is page 1, top panel, and bottom 2 panels. Page 2, top panels. Now Peter Laird, even then in '83, was very, very capable artist, in my opinion. I really like his style even then. So I'm showing you panels on page 3. Page 4 of the story. You can see why this made it to the goodies, huh? And page 5. Kid returns home to his room. And page 6. So isn't that pretty cool? Alright, so yeah, just wanted to show you that. I had both of these, and when I saw your video about the that Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle zine, these two immediately came to mind. I know there were some more mini comics work that they did. I'm not sure that I have any of it. I might have 1 or 2 more pieces that I just don't know of, because they contributed to other people's mini comic compilations, as I explained before, with both Clay and Brad Foster, and other people were doing the same kind of thing, just trading art around. So very rare, but not very expensive. You probably can get this from Brad today, even if he has any copies. I would guess maybe $5 or $8 shipped. And this one you're going to have to hunt for. Brad may still have some of these around. In fact, there are I know there are a couple of other issues of goodies that both Kevin and Peter have artwork in. But I don't have them. Brad may still have them if you want to contact him. If you need some contact information, let me know, and I can get you in touch with him. So thought I'd share that with you. If you don't think it's a bad idea, or if you don't think it's too adult, I can make this video public and let others see, and we can somehow, I know YouTube used to allow you to respond to someone's video with a video response. I don't know if that has gone by the wayside since the Google Plus fiasco, but you know, if you want to go that route, I'm certainly willing to do it. So take care, Nick, and we'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.